Welcome to Future Talk. On today's program, we're going to meet a man who believes that technology can and should be used for the good of society. His name is Jim Fruchterman, and he's the founder of a nonprofit organization called Benetech that develops technology to do things ranging from providing access to books for people who are blind, to advancing environmental conservation, to aiding people who defend human rights. A leader in the field of optical character recognition, Jim co-founded Calera Recognition Systems in 1982. After deciding to join the nonprofit sector, he was named an Outstanding Social Entrepreneur by the Schwab Foundation and also won a MacArthur Fellowship, sometimes known as the MacArthur Genius Award. He says that Benetech's business model is similar to that of a high-tech startup company, except that it measures its return on investment not on the number of dollars earned, but on the number of lives improved. Jim, welcome to the program.
Thanks a lot, Marty. Glad to be here.
Now, you were doing pretty well in the profit-making sector. What made you decide to switch to nonprofit work?
Well, what had happened from my standpoint is, in college, I thought of making a reading machine for the blind. I was learning how to make smart bombs and using pattern recognition, and I thought this would be a cooler application. So when I'd started a company that actually made the technology that was possible, we built a prototype reading machine for the blind, showed it to our investors, and said, this should be a new product on top of our commercial products. And they said no. So because of the fact that it didn't make enough money, our investors didn't want us pursuing it, I decided to start a deliberately nonprofit high-tech company and actually go into the business of making reading machines for the blind as a break-even business, as essentially a social good, as opposed to delivering lots of return on investment to our investors.
What got you interested in blindness? Did you have some background in that or some experience?
No, and I'm unusual in the blindness field. People do tech for blind people in not having a personal connection. For me, it was the one cool idea I came up with in college, and I wasn't going to let go of it.
Now, you do stuff for the blind, but that's not all that Benetech does. You've got quite a few other projects. What are some of your other activities?
Well, I think there's so many places where technology exists that could help society, and it doesn't get applied to that because you can't make enough money. So helping environmentalists is a good example. So we help conservationists or people running campaigns. It's project management 101, but wrapped in terms that an environmentalist would be comfortable with. And another one of our big areas is human rights. I mean, the human rights field, in one sense, is an information processing industry that no one writes information processing software for because they can't make enough money. So from a grassroots group all the way up to a truth commission or a war crimes tribunal, we're the geeks behind the human rights movement trying to help them use the information to pursue justice, reconciliation, whatever their objective is.
So your products are basically software. You're writing software applications that enables people to pursue things that would be hard otherwise?
Yeah, I would say our main goal is to build not off-the-shelf kind of tools. We're not building a word processor for human rights activists or a spreadsheet for environmental folks. But we're trying to do the one thing or the two things that are really unique to that field, that if it was a for-profit industry, there would be 5 or 50 companies writing software for that. In the nonprofit sector, often there's 0, and we're trying to fill that gap.
Now, do the products you create ever bleed over into the profit-making sector? Do these things turn out to actually be useful for commercial applications as well?
When we start the projects, we don't think they're commercially interesting, but after a few years, if we actually prove that something's possible, it could become commercially valuable. As a matter of fact, our first project, which was making reading machines for blind people, after 10 years, we sold it to a for-profit company, got $5 million, and used that to start Bookshare, our library for blind and dyslexic people, and our human rights program. So we think, whenever we start a project, we think there could be a for-profit exit, but it's probably a fair distance off. Otherwise, we wouldn't touch it. Because we're not looking for something that's close to the for-profit, nonprofit line. We're looking for something that there's a chance to make a revolutionary impact. Maybe that we could, it's not going to be just a little ways from making money. It's going to be a long way. But the social good is big.
Now we're going to be talking some more about some of the projects you're working on, but we also have a video which shows some of your projects. So we're going to roll that video. Can we go ahead and see that video, please?
How many people can a single idea help?
Jim Fruchterman, Benetech founder and CEO, addresses an audience.
At Benetech, we think a single idea can help millions of people.
A logo. Pages form an arc next to the word Bookshare.
I believe in the right to a great education. People with a disability that keeps them from reading print, with our Bookshare online library, they can download the books they need for education, employment, for a better life.
A man with a visual impairment presses keys on a handheld device, searches the internet for an accessible book of mice and men, and reads a refreshable braille display on his laptop computer. At his desk, the man chats with a colleague, then wears a headset as he works. A logo. A line swoops around a globe in the word Martus.
I believe that technology can give voice to oppressed people all around the world.
On a rural farm, an interviewer wearing an orange-colored serape arrives carrying a laptop computer. A young woman greets the interviewer with a warm hug, and they sit outside in the sun.
By allowing human rights activists to safely document human rights abuses, our software helps advance the cause of human rights globally. Because every story of human rights abuse is a tool for justice.
The interviewer inputs notes in Spanish into the computer. A logo. A circular green arrow appears next to the word Marathi.
I believe with the right technology tools, scientists can be more powerful in protecting our environment.
In footage, two researchers use a laptop computer to record data in a forest.
Our Marathi software is there to be the indispensable tool for conservationists to better design and manage and learn from their projects so that they can better meet their conservation goals.
One researcher collects water samples, dipping several jars into a creek. The other inputs notes into a document created in Marathi software.
As a nonprofit technology company, Benetech measures our return on investment by the number of lives that we assist. If we can deliver a sustainable technology solution, we'll have made change that will sustain for generations to come.
A title, Benetech, Technology Serving Humanity.
And that was just some of the projects that Benetech is working on right now. Jim, what do you like most about this type of work? What satisfies you the most?
Well, I'm a geek, and I like solving problems. And so people bring us some of society's toughest problems, and I don't have a lot of competitors. Because all my buddies here in Silicon Valley said, you can't make money in human rights. And so I get to do a lot of these fun things. And in many cases, access leaders in those fields and listen to what they want to see happen, as well as talking to grassroots groups and see if we can build tools that just make that more powerful. I mean, that's what we are, tool makers. And we want to make tool makers the people, let's say, the 90% of humanity that Silicon Valley usually doesn't get around to helping.
How do you decide what projects to work on? Do you go out looking for things to do, or do people come to you and ask for your help?
A little bit of both, but now I'd say it's mainly people bringing us problems. I mean, I think someone says, hey, there's technology, it's got a great social application, it's not going to make money. Let's ask Benetech and Jim to do it. And so we get probably 100 good ideas a year, and we can do a couple, maybe. So there's a real need for actually more Benetechs in the world, but this sort of gap exists in a way that we get to talk to those people, and then we actually operate a lot like venture capitalists do. So, is there a chance to make a gigantic return on investment? In our case, it's for society, not for our donors, right? So if we can deliver a unit of social good, like a book to a blind person, for 1/10 of what it costs the traditional way, that's got to be better. Can we come up with 3 exit options? 10 years from now, how will we solve this problem and not be doing it anymore? How can we get it sustainable so that it actually generates enough revenue to keep it going? Is someone on the team passionate about it? Do we have great partners in the field? So a lot of the same kind of considerations a VC would do, but we have a social twist to each one of them.